all
I
you're
don't think
gonna
it's a
do
woman.
is literally just scream into the mic like a fucking chimpanzee,
He's a retard. Just
then
ignore.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just,
what I am.
you
I'm
know,
retarded.
I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah, I'm the dumb one.
That's basically all I have to say on
You're
the
behaving
topic.
like one. That's for sure.
Nah, man, I'm telling you, the intelligence that's coming out of this person is just
Excuse me?
amazing. It's revolutionary.
Why are people saying like it's bad to cope, or like they accuse people of coping like it's a bad thing? I don't understand. I thought coping was a good thing.
Yeah, no, we're supposed to just self-destruct and blame it on
You
everyone
should say
else.
something.
That's
What do you mean by
what
coping?
it
It's
is.
mostly because people function off dialogue trees instead of independent thought.
Smartest thing she said all night.
I think life is hard a lot of the times, right? And I struggle, and like I use Jesus to cope with difficult situations, and I think that's a good thing. I don't like someone's gonna try and like put me down because I use
Yeah, but you
Jesus to
cannot
cope.
generalize it.
It makes
Yeah,
no
but you
sense.
cannot you
What-
cannot
No, that's a
generalize
cope.
it.
That's a cope, P Mars. That's a cope. That's a cope on top
No,
of
we're
a
not
cope.
saying we're not saying
Called-
we're not saying
called
we're not saying that.
compound-
Let me
called a
guide.
compound
God.
cope.
If you're an atheist, how do you cope? Like
So
They
in
don't.
the
They don't. They just
process
lash
of,
out
like,
into the world
you
because it's
coping through
everyone else's
Jesus,
fault.
right?
It's not. It's not.
Like,
It's not their fault.
What does
Everyone
that
else's
coping
fault.
look like for you?
We cannot
Like,
hear
un-
you.
Like literally, so like unironically, right? If you're having a hard time and you're Christian or whatever, and Jesus gives you strength or something, like how does he help you cope? Like literally, like I am
Just like how Mario
genuinely
is a
asking.
small Mario and he jumps on top of the
not
mushroom
even
and he
me.
becomes the big Mario.
well, like if I go by the standards of like the world, for example, I'm like a massive loser, you know.
Well, I mean, I'm okay. So,
But when I turn to like Jesus,
I don't. Yeah.
he shows me like a new standard where like he kind of like he says like the meek will inherit the earth, you know, the last shall be first, which is absurd and irrational, right? But it makes sense to me that like the human world, society doesn't really matter so much, and God's kingdom is what's really important, right? And like that helps me deal with like, a lot of social issues or whatever from society and culture where I'm at the bottom of a hierarchy, which is sad, right?
So, I mean, I hear you, and honestly, like it explains what most religion, or at least contemporary religion, does, at least in my mind, which is it gives people a sense of value,
That's not true.
belonging, community, in a world that they feel is intimidating and too difficult to navigate. And when something comes along that presents them a framework for not only making sense of things, but in such a way that it
This is so bad.
makes them feel as though they
And you want to
are
listen to this,
part of a
Helios?
very
This is
select,
what you want. This
special
is who you want to talk to.
Yeah, because I
Who you
can
want to
because
talk
I have
to?
a counter argument. Yes.
Are you a
I think there's
psychologist?
yeah, man. I think
I'm
that
not
you
like my mom
I
is,
think you have
but
just as
that's all
bad
it
as
is,
mental
right?
issues as this person
But
does.
like, you know,
All right, thank you.
makes
do.
makes them feel as though, like, you know, they're part of like a
Yeah.
special group. It gives
The
them like a big fucking like
Yeah.
morale boost.
That's a cope.
And
That's a
this
cope.
is why
That's
when
a compound
someone
cope.
was
That's
saying
a cope of a
earlier
cope.
Is that why
You're not
gay
allowed to
people
cope
join
on top of cope.
LGBTQ plus?
I mean, it might be part of it, but like this, it's literally why when someone was like, I believe in this and I do this and it makes me feel good. I was just like, yeah,
But
fuck,
that's not how.
more,
Yeah, but you're listen,
like,
listen, listen.
like literally
We get the
unironically,
point.
like more power
You're
to
generalizing. That's the problem.
Unironically.
The problem with your argument is not absolutely false, but it's not absolutely correct either. There is some truth in it, but there is some errors in it.
Helios.
There are people.
It's like
Let me respond. Barth, shut up.
like
There
fully
are people. There are people who actually, yeah, they become religious because they have the sense of, it cures them from their depression, if I may say that. That's true. But I am a theist. I'm a classical theist. I'm not religious because it makes me feel good. Because I am a theist because I think it's the rational position to take, and I have an argument for that.
It's
just
not
because,
rational,
it
you
makes me feel
goddamn
good.
Muslim.
Not a Muslim. I'm not a Muslim. Just because I have a fucking accent doesn't make me a Muslim, you moron.
This guy's just a racist. Just ignore him, man.
Who's a racist?
It definitely doesn't make you white. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you
This
try
guy
to be white.
claimed. This
I
guy
am
claimed
white.
by your accent that you're
Frankly,
Muslim,
I am
bro.
actually white.
Kind of that's how I expect Americans to behave. Anyway, they're just
So-
cheeseburgers. Ignore them and carry on what you're saying.
So yeah,
Double
this is
cheeseburgers,
literally
motherfucker.
why
Double
I
cheeseburgers.
have like very little.
Yeah, Bath, you kind of look like a Jew, so I don't think you're actually technically American, 100%.
Yo, I'm fly as fuck. Yo, I'm
I'm
6 foot.
You're a Jew. You're a Jew.
You can't
Bath, you're a
miss
Jew.
me, motherfucker.
You
You can
belong
see
in
me
Israel. You
from
don't
2
belong in
blocks
America.
away. I'm fucking
I'm not-
glowing.
Wait, what? When did I become Jewish? Hello?
He's talking to Bart.
Talking about yeah. So I think it's there is some truth in it, but you're generalizing. I
No
think
one
that's the
asked you
problem.
what you fucking think.
Well, I mean, yeah, like we were talking about it. Like,
Well,
a
first of all, don't
generalized-
interrupt him, Bath. I'm gonna have to report you to mods. You better behave yourself, you understand me? Now carry on what you're saying, alright? Don't forget about Bath.
Okay, so this is how deep I am.
Is this the same guy like just chasing me around in every chat?
Yes,
What
yes,
is wrong
let's
with
talk
this guy?
over each other. Let's have
Any-
a more of a stable
Dry
conversation.
Why are
snitching,
you?
Bart.
Do you allow
Why?
people to talk,
So
Bath? Are you
report me
serious,
to the
bro?
mods.
Are you serious,
So
bro?
report,
I'm not
man.
gonna report you. You know I'm not a snitch. Can we just have a normal conversation without you interrupting people all the
Not
time?
saying anything. She hasn't said anything the whole time.
Yes.
Just
You keep
coping.
interrupting her. That's why we can't hear anything, man. We don't
It's
even
just
know
a
what
cope.
she's saying because you keep interrupting us.
Just a cope.
Damn it.
That's all it is. It's a cope.
To be
You don't
fair,
have to
I
listen to
also
it, but-
can't hear anything that he's saying because
It's a cope.
he's just basically never said anything in general other than trolling in order to interrupt.
Yeah,
just a cope.
that's typical of Barth, but ignore him. So, what do you think about my objection that you are maybe generalizing too much? I mean, if
You're
you
the
take
smartest person in the world, Helios.
Okay, like saying that I'm like generalizing, it doesn't really like that's not an argument. So
it is an
I
argument. What do you
don't-
mean?
Okay, well, I mean, you need to put a little bit more meat on the bones of this argument. Because, like,
Bro,
I
she just
don't even know what to say to
fucking
that.
DTO'd you, bro. She just owned you, bro.
Like,
She
if-
said your argument is
if your
shit.
rebuttal is literally just you're generalizing. I unironically don't know what to say to that. Like, it's just way too vague.
As an atheist, where do you go for strength when like life is hard?
Who, me?
Are you an atheist?
I mean, yeah, but
Who, me?
it's-
Me?
okay, so
Me?
however I might cope with difficult situations has nothing to do with how quote unquote atheists cope with situations. Like,
She said
we're not
we before. She
monolith
said
the way
we. We
Christians
atheists.
are,
All of a
right?
sudden, she's
I
not
mean,
part of the
how
group.
would you feel if I tried to lump you in with Catholics and evangelicals and
Don't say Jew.
Mormons?
Don't say Jew.
Like, literally, just like every single type of Jesus believer, right?
Yeah, I was
Like,
just
it's
asking
just-
you as an atheist. Like,
No,
I go to Jesus when I need help and strength,
I
right?
guess, I guess,
So, like,
you
as
were
an
just
as an
asking a
atheist,
question,
what would
but
you
it's just
what would you go
It's
to
way
in that
it's way too
situation?
generalized. It's way too generalized.
It's not generalized
Anime
at all.
porn. Anime.
No, it
They go to
absolutely
anime.
is.
There's nothing. No, there's
That's what
nothing.
they do. They go to
You don't. I'm saying you don't believe in
go
God,
to
right?
1979.
God
Gundam
helps me
videos.
and gives me strength, right? So as a person who doesn't believe in God, like
So
where
how
do you
does
get
God- how does
strength
God?
when you need
Okay,
strength?
so you're asking me to respond to like negative questions, which is just really fucking weird in general.
What does that mean?
But
What's a
the-
negative question?
It's like, okay,
It's the opposite of a
considering
positive
that
question.
you're a person that does not believe in Leprechaun, how does that make you
Yeah, a
feel
leprechaun has the same
when other
qualities
people
as
talk
God.
about
You didn't
the
know that?
Loch Ness monster?
There's
Right? Like, it's
leprechauns
just-
and God are the same
it's-
qualities.
I
and
don't.
attributes.
I don't see the
You're
problem with
inter-
that question. I could answer that easily.
Okay, well, it wasn't meant to.
Can
be.
you really?
And
Can you
What
really?
is she talking about? A
It-
negative question?
it-
I've never heard anyone say negative question in my life.
Negative? Negative
okay,
question?
Well, I don't know where you went to school, but like,
I went to school in Fargo, North Dakota.
oh no.
Really?
Listen, I love.
No way!
Do you guys actually get down like that in Fargo?
Really?
Please tell me you do, because
Yes, we do.
fucking based. I am going to stick to flying over the entirety of your state and letting you people do what the fuck it is you do. Because
Yep, she's got
holy
the bad-
shit,
she's got the
do
bad
some good
problem of
books
you
come out of
guys.
that place. God
It's you
damn.
guys. Solid
It's the
system
best
world.
state because it's like the least amount of people.
Oh yeah, like the.
I
it's
believe in
actually
God
one of my
because
good
I believe in
friends,
God, and I know what I know because I know I know.
Montana.
I know
And
what I
like-
know because
And
I know.
used to think, like, why-
There is
How do
no
you know
other
that?
reason.
like why would you name your
Because
child
that's
something
what I
like
know.
that? And then when I got
How do you know
a bit
that?
older and
That's
started
it.
learning
That's the
about
answer.
English
I
planes
know
and
what
it
I know
actually
because
exists,
I
and,
know
like,
it.
the middle of all of this
There's
random
no
shit, it's
other
like, holy
fucking
cow.
way to think about it.
Yeah.
Think about
it's
right?
not such a bad
Right?
thing after
Right? Right? It was revealed to me through existence, right?
all. But,
I
yeah,
got in
mean,
trouble in junior high school. I had to sit in the principal's office all
you
fucking
guys
day
almost put, like,
until they
Breaking
came and
Bad
picked me
to
up.
shame,
I started to
be fair.
realize that I'm not the only
What, with
person in the
meth
world.
use?
Pardon?
With our meth use?
I started to realize that.
Matthew?
How did you realize that?
Meth
What?
use?
Did you know I realized that in fucking the 4th grade?
Yeah.
did you realize?
The 4th grade,
I'm not
I
exactly
threw
sure what
a
you're trying to say.
fucking a wooden block at a fucking kid's head, and he had a big knot, and my mom had to come in, and I said, but what's wrong? Why can't I want to throw blocks at everybody? Why can't I do that? They're like, that's
Hello?
not right.
Why did it get so quiet?
It's subjective. You cannot sit in the room and throw wooden blocks at other kids. I'm like, no way. How is that possible? What do you mean?
This is boring.
Of course I could do that. I'm the only person who exists.
What do you think the meaning of
I
life
think,
is?
therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. I'm the only person that matters. That's it. That's the answer.
I don't think that I'm qualified to answer a question that
You're not qualified to
humanity
even have a
has been
driver's
asking
license. Okay?
for, like,
You shouldn't
our
even be
entire
allowed to
existence.
drive. Let alone
I can
wake
answer
up
that
and
question
put
easy.
fucking toothpaste
you
on your toothbrush.
give an
Your mother
answer,
probably still
much
puts
the
the
same
fucking
way
toothpaste
that
on the toothbrush when you wake up in the
throughout
morning.
history have also given answers to that question.
You don't even have.
The
You
thing
probably don't even
is that
change the
your
sheets
answers
on your
evolve
fucking
very
bed.
wildly, and as someone who is, you know, a little bit more skeptical, a little bit more of an atheist,
Mhm.
I'm gonna like take
When was the
all of
last
that into
time you left your
consideration
house? When was the last time
speculating
you
on
walked
special
into the real world? That's what I want to know.
I don't really think atheists are skeptical though, because like they believe their own bullshit, right? They're only skeptical of things they don't believe.
They don't.
which
That's the whole thing. They
everyone is
don't
skeptical
believe
of
in their own
things.
bullshit, PMRs.
No, they
They
do.
don't believe it.
They're not skeptical of anything they believe. They're skeptical of what other people believe. That's not.
That's
really
the
being
dogma
skeptical.
of being an atheist.
No,
That's
not,
not.
not
Just
that's not
disagree
Really skeptical.
really.
to disagree.
Can you point to an example of that?
Disagree to disagree.
First of all, I
That's
reject
it.
the notion entirely. But second of all, could you give an
Yeah.
explanation? To
You
back up
rejected.
this
You
claim?
know what they did to you when you tried to go for your learner's permit? They rejected you.
Like if you're a skeptic, you
It's
should
like,
question
this
your
person's
beliefs,
not
right? But,
well.
like atheists, they
Okay,
don't
right.
question
So-
their beliefs. They just question like other people's beliefs.
Right.
That's not really being skeptical. That's just being an asshole.
I heard the claim, and my response is that I reject it entirely. I'm asking if you have any evidence to
Yeah.
support this claim.
Whatever I say is evidence. I am evidence.
Well, so what I'm saying then is that your evidence is null and void, and so therefore it is evidence of the fact that I am correct. I love how that works. So thank you for making it so easy for me.
Well, you can flat earthers don't believe in the evidence for the sphere Earth, so it's like whatever. You want to be a flat earther? I don't care.
Well, listen, according to
you
your
can reject
logic,
you can reject
you
evidence
can
all day
be-
if you want.
according to your logic, you can be a flat earther, you can be a My Little Pony earther, whatever you feel like believing. According to your logic.
No, I'm saying
You
you
just-
you reject
you just
evidence. I
believe
presented
it.
evidence. You rejected it. Like when you argue with a flat earther and you present evidence of a
I
sphere
asked
Earth,
you.
and the flat earther
I-
rejects your
I
evidence
literally
with like this
asked
hand
you
wave
what
dismissal.
evidence.
That's what you did.
I
like the
literally
flat
asked
earther.
you, dude. I asked you what evidence.
I told
said
you
your
that
evidence-
I am
You
evidence.
said your evidence is that I believe it.
I am
so you
evidence
literally-
incarnate.
yes.
I am evidence.
Okay.
I
okay,
am the
Mr. Flat
evidence.
Earther. Okay. All right. cool.
So you reject evidence like a flat earther.
Yes, I reject you.
Exactly.
There we go. Just stimulating conversation. Fucking Christ. Oh wait.
Do you
just
want
need-
you want me to read my book? I'm reading
Actually,
the Technological
No.
Society.
the idea of you being a
No.
published author is hilarious.
It's not my
Wait,
book. It's the book
are
I'm
you-
reading.
Out of curiosity, like, are you published or?
I'm
are
not
you
an
just-
author. I read books. I'm saying my book that I'm reading, not that I wrote.
Oh, yeah, that's even less interesting.
I'm reading the
You- but you could-
Technological Society.
So literally,
Ow! Ow!
I've heard enough of you to realize that I can't find anything that you would be reading very interesting.
Well, Aldous Huxley thought this was a really cool book,
Yeah, well,
and he was like,
I'm
Considered-
pretty sure he would not find you very interesting.
well, he finds the book interesting. I find the book interesting.
You're
You
not-
don't find the book interesting. What are you
I know.
interested in?
I don't find you interesting. I was very specific on that point. Ooh. Ah.
If I
Oh
was
my God,
gay
I
or
love
black,
this nuclear
would you think I
murder.
was interesting?
Depends. Did you get a new brain that made you interesting?
Yeah, I got a gay black brain.
I know. Well, I'll reserve comment until I'm presented with a personality and disposition that is not what I've been presented with.
That's my personality. I'm a gay black.
Well, in the spirit of Martin Luther King, I am judging you by the content of your character, which I find lacking.
I should have a lot of character. Because I've suffered a lot.
Having character and this character being something of note are two entirely different things.
Suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character.
Apparently, you've not undergone sufficient suffering.
I love suffering. You're a cat. Cat. You're a cat. You're a cat. Cat. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't at all terrifying.
Okay.
Actually,
She left. I mean, he left. I mean, it left. What the fuck was that? Hello.
Through me because I don't pay. My company doesn't pay them. The company that we hired pays them.
You're an abusive person. That's what you're saying, and you take pleasure out of it.
I'm an abusive person. Yes, I will agree.
And you derive pleasure.
Are you?
You just shit.
I can be very abusive at times. Yes, it's how I cope.
He just confessed.
Jesus.
But no, eventually I realized that she was actually wrong for me. She was actually being, like, it was good.
You don't. I told you I don't need one. I don't need one.
Does anyone else here think he doesn't need one?
No, I don't think he really needs one. He doesn't
What?
show anything that would openly suggest.
Why do you think he needs one?
Because he thinks he knows everything.
Projecting, angry.
Omicron, you have to be 18.
He's losing it at the. He's losing it. At the flip of a hat. Probably has high blood pressure. He needs a medical help.
Right, so what makes you say these things?
He
You
just
diagnose people with Discord now?
he just confessed. He just confessed
that's
that
your cope? Is that your cope?
he derives sadistic pleasure at work by abusing his fellow colleagues.
Is that your
Yeah.
What were you going to say,
That's a
Pima?
bit
They're
of a
not my
situation.
colleagues. They're not my
yeah,
colleagues.
we want people who are 18 plus here. So
Yeah, this Australian kid, he's a bit of a disturbed child as well. But anyway,
The thing is that he's not banned from every other chat. You are. So why
the
can't
pathologist, what did I say?
What didn't you say?
What did I say?
No, but what
Didn't
didn't
you
you say?
say?
That's the
What
question.
did I say?
It's not what you
Is-
said.
Is
it's what
that
you
is
didn't.
that how you supervise work?
It's exactly what I supervise. It's not
Hi,
what you. It's not what you've
hi.
done. It's what you
Sir,
didn't.
where do I lay this brick? Where do you not lay this brick?
Right. Hang on. What did you say?
Yeah, Barthologist, tell us.
No. What did you say?
What did I say?
Yeah.
Someone mentioned Israel, and I said it. I don't like Israel.
Okay. What was the context of that statement?
We were just joking around, and this guy just walked in, and then it went crazy.
I was waiting for a long, long time for you to feel the same. Who are you to look at me like that? If there's something more you need to say, I haven't loved you in a long, long time. So why do I feel this way? Can you hear my heartbeat? Please don't stand so close to me. Can you hear my heart? Can you hear my heart? Can you hear beating
Strong, 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 strong. I haven't loved you in a long, long time. I haven't loved you in a long, long time. I haven't loved you in a long, long time.
long, long time?
I want you back when you were never mine to give away. I was waiting for a long, long time for you to feel the same. Who are you to look at me like that? Is there something more you need to say? I haven't loved you in a long, long time, so why do I feel this way? Can you hear my heartbeat? Please don't stand so close to me. Can you hear my heartbeat? It's still beating strong, 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 strong. Woo! I haven't loved you in a long, long time. I haven't loved you in a long, long time. I haven't loved you in a long, long time.
Long, long time.
Woo!
Maybe I'm ashamed to want you back. Maybe I'm afraid you never stay. Thought I hated you a long, long time. Was my mistake. Just can't pretend that nothing changed. Can you comprehend just what's at stake? If you break my heart a second time, I might never be the same.
It's like, it's hard to suck, you have to like suck it extra.
Corrupt cops and crack rocks. Corrupt cops and crack rocks. Corrupt cops and crack rocks. Rock, crack, rock, corrupt, cop, crack, rock. Alone. Sammy, help you maintain to learn to overcome the heartaches and pains. We got what is it? We'll explain working hard can help you maintain to learn to overcome the heartache and pain. We got stick up kids, corrupt cops, and crack rocks and straight shots all in the blocks. It stays hot. Sensational. What's up, One Way?
He was never miserable. He was a king.
I think the dude with the aviators is actually miserable. He's hiding behind his dark shades. You know, he's hiding his.
You allow for that part after like lunch for you to sleep, because I know our body tries to sleep after lunch. It's got two actual periods of sleep. Our brain does. There's a kick in around lunch period, and there's a kick in after lunch period. Afterwards.
So I work for public sector, so
You would make a really good how do you call it? I guess a nurse captain, or what's
proportional to the population. Like, it's not like we're going to say, oh, we only had 20 deaths because we had 2 million people.
Do you think you can order me, man?
Yeah, you're hiding. You're hiding behind your shades.
I look like someone who's hiding?
And
I can
you're
give you my address, you pussy.
Yeah.
I can give you my address, you pussy.
Something in my throat. Definitely.
Yeah, okay. Wait, what? Yeah. No, never mind.
What are you doing? You're a crybaby. You're a crybaby. You're a crybaby, baby.
Hello?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm gonna read.
Hmm?
I'm gonna read a book.
What country in North America do you reside in?
America.
Do you care about what's happening in Europe or not?
No.
So you don't care about the Russia-Ukraine situation?
No.
So if war breaks out between Russia and NATO, you won't care, even though you could be a target?
Yes.
Do you think that's intelligent?
Yes.
Why?
Because politics is fake. He just left. The Great Hopes. Economic systems confronted by technique. Guess he didn't want to argue that.
No, it's not fake. Politics is real, man. I believe in it. Yeah. I believe totally what they say. They would never lie to me. I'm an informed slave. Yeah, I know I'm a low-class slave, but the leaders of my society inform me with education because they love me. Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Dorian, will you chill the fuck out every morning? Bro. What? I played with you. I let you go outside. Gave you food. Just chill out. Relax. You always seem to be like being crazy all the time. Not all the time, babe. Sleep. Economics, the Great Hope. Economic systems confronted by technique. Jean Marshall is right in reducing to three systems the economic solutions presently recommended. Marshall's three systems are corporatism, planning, and liberal interventionism. But after having correctly observed that the system of planned economy is at bottom no more rational than the system of the market economy, he is wrong in adding that the choice between the two systems follows more from philosophic preferences than from truly scientific considerations, and that neither of these systems can pretend to a total rationality. It is not philosophical preferences which weigh one system against the other, or which lead to the choice between them. If I ask myself which of the two ought logically to prevail, I am not referring to the philosophical choice of the masses. It is efficiency and success that lead history to adopt a certain direction, not man who in some sense makes a decision. The problem does not concern personal decision or preference. It is a question of discerning what seems most probable. at the present moment, what system is most efficient? I insist on the phrase "at the present moment." It means nothing to explain that liberal capitalism was extraordinarily efficient a century ago. The statement is true, and we do not wish to deny it. But what of the present moment? If we accept the idea that different human systems of action ought to correspond to different social, political, and economic circumstances, can we uphold the thesis that the past efficiency of liberal capitalism is a pledge of present efficiency? Let us remember that from the point of view of efficiency, the Russian and German planned economies were successes, and the United States adopted a planned regime when it was challenged by war. It may be added, with all the care and precaution presupposed by the critical democratic sensibility of the Anglo-Saxons. Shortly after reconversion in 1950, however, the Americans were obliged to embark on a new program. It was not merely an armaments program, which had certain advantages in connection with full employment, but a sound program encompassing a group of countries, as indicated by Truman's Point 4. These programs presupposed a planned economy. It would seem that we are today unable to escape the facts, and the facts direct us toward the planned economy, regardless of our theoretical judgments in the matter. It is also often asked whether after long periods of planned economy, the trend could be reversed, but this is another problem. We must ask why these fixed and rigid programs, which emerged in a planned economy, are adopted on a wider and wider scale, irrespective of doctrines and intentions. The only reply is that planning permits us to do more quickly and more completely whatever appears desirable. Planning in modern society is the technical method. It does not necessarily represent the best economic solution, but it does represent the best technical solution. We must demand of planning what it is able to do and nothing else. Marshall, therefore, is right in saying that the planned economy is not more rational than the market economy. It is not at all certain that it will result in any greater savings. I understand that one of the preoccupations of economic science is whether a result has been attained in the most economical manner possible. But this is possibly only an abstract point of view, and, in any case, is secondary. The same problem arises in war between one general who hesitates to sacrifice human life and another general who desires victory at any cost and is willing to sacrifice everything to gain it. Unfortunately, our experience since the 18th century has been that general who hesitates to make the sacrifice is always defeated. The same problem is posed by dumping. In speed, intensity, and coherence, the technique of the plan proves superior. There may be waste. This is not completely certain, but it ought not to be forgotten that the charge of waste was one of the keenest criticisms leveled against liberalism. It is possible that waste will be mitigated through an improvement of the technique. We are not presently in a position to say one way or the other. These observations might be summed up in the statement that in one case, technique exists and in the other it does not. But things are not so simple. It is standard practice to set up in opposition the possible solutions, for example, corporatism and planning. But we should guard against the possibility that the contrast is completely artificial. We should guard against abandoning ourselves to the judgment of the specialists. The important question is one of perspective. Every system is composed of different elements. We can put these elements in different perspectives and thereby arrive at different judgments. The specialist will fasten on certain specific elements. Either he will envisage a given system subspecies subspeciator fucking Latin shit, in which case his judgment will be that the planned economy and the corporate economy are clearly not identical. Or he will envisage the system from the viewpoint of practical realization in all the facets of its achievements. In this case, the structure of a corporation or the systems of corporative production will again be judged not to be the same as the structure of the planned economy in genuinely concrete details. These elements of a given system, which are important in their specificity, lose importance, however, if, instead of isolating the system, we try to reintegrate it into the complex of society and into the general course of history. What then takes on importance are the elements in their relation. Relations are of the highest importance, not mere internal consistency. It is the connections between the economic system and the state, with its technical means, different classes and structures and national form, which become characteristic. And we do not mean here theoretical connections, but real ones resulting from the internal necessity of the regime. From this point of view, the corporate economy and the planned economy come singularly close together, to the degree that both systems, A, take a firm hold on the economy, B, manage it on the basis of exact mathematical methods, C, integrate it into a Promethean society which excludes all chance, D, centralize it in the frameworks of nation and state. The corporate economy today has no chance of success except as a state system. E, cause it to assume an aspect of formal democracy to the total exclusion of real democracy. And F, exploit all possible techniques for controlling men. The kinship of the two systems is obvious in spite of differences in material structure. The end pursued by both the corporate economy and the planned economy, and the means adopted to reach this end are identical. Only the outward forms change. It is useless to compare these forms. History will decide which form is best adapted to the common end. It does not seem to me to be exact, therefore, to hold that there are three possible economic pathways. There are only two, and only one of them entails the exploitation of these techniques. The other one ascribes the chief place to nature. Here again is the old opposition between the natural and the artificial representing the expression of art technique. The complete identity rather than the resemblance between corporatism and planning ought to be noted. Corporatism is adapted to a traditional, cultivated bourgeoisie mentality, planning to an innovating proletarian. Corporatism is adapted to a traditional, cultivated bourgeoisie mentality, planning to an innovating proletarian pseudoscientific mentality. But the attitude of the two is fundamentally the same. And, speaking objectively, the result, insofar as the real structure of human society is concerned, will be identical. I think he's saying that basically capitalism and communism are the same thing. There are only superficial differences. As to the choice between the two, the system that can best utilize the techniques proposed by the economist will prevail. Up to now, there is no doubt that the planned society seems better able than the corporate society to utilize these techniques. The corporate society brings to bear a whole complex of non-technical considerations, sentimental or doctrinaire, which the planned society rejects. It may be objected that in the planned society, politics intervene on a major scale, and that is not technique. I would then ask, what kind of politics is meant? As we shall see, politics have tended to become technical in the countries that have adopted planning. The serious study of the opposition between politics and economics and the relations between them dates back perhaps 20 years. This opposition has tended to become less and less real as the two have found a common denominator in technique. When the economy and the political milieu are simultaneously subjected to technical method, the problem of the interference of politics in the economy ceases to have major importance. It no longer has the same significance as personal influence, private interest, or moral judgments. The alignment of the two has not yet been fully completed, and this constituted the particular weakness of Hitler's Germany. But it takes more than a decade to overcome technically great political and economic machines. All these considerations attest to the fundamental likeness of the corporate economy and the planned economy. Only these two economic attitudes are left. They should not be considered, however, in their extreme aspects. A planned society does not imply that every detail is integrated into the plan, nor does the plan provide for the humblest means. Liberalism, likewise, cannot be understood in its entirety. One scarcely speaks any longer of a liberal interventionism, in which the distinction is made between the policy of structure, improvement of distribution, etc., and the policy of prosperity, influence on the economy itself of certain means which have been decided upon, for example, money. The state no longer leaves the economy to itself, but state intervention is flexible enough to allow the entrepreneurs some initiative and grant freedom to the market. This is the attitude of the best minds in France. They are guided not only by a desire for equilibrium and a traditional confidence in the middle of the road, but also by a preoccupation with human and nonconformist elements. I do not deny that these elements are desirable, or that attributing a strategic role to the state while reserving tactical freedom to the citizens is a tempting concept. But I am searching for the possible here. Would such an economic orientation really satisfy technical conditions? Is it realizable in depth? The answer is certainly yes, if we abstract it from reality. But when we come back to reality, it is immediately evident that the liberal orientation represents the most difficult of the possible alternatives. The equilibrium we seek between technique and freedom, and between state and private enterprise, is not stable. It is continually being put to the test and must be ceaselessly re-established. The tension required of the individual in the struggle seems to me to raise a grave question. Is it feasible to obtain from the individual ceaseless effort to establish the very framework of his activity? And will his activity within this framework be sustained? In other words, is this equilibrium the best possible condition for economic development? Will not the energy employed to secure the structural framework be dissipated in some other quarter? One must take account, after all, of human nature. This is even more true of a liberally supervised economy than of a totally planned economy, precisely because the former entails a certain degree of freedom for the individual. The human being, left to his own devices, will not choose the most difficult pass or the tightest situation. He will choose the line of least resistance. I am speaking of the man of the 20th century, the product of the society based on ease, security, and comfort. The average man, like myself, or the entrepreneur of my acquaintance, has no great desire to maintain his equilibrium at the expense of a ceaseless recreating of a failing virtue. Under these conditions, he finds that things go badly. He far prefers a simple solution, summary, no doubt, and brutal, but assuring him an easy road. Since means of direct intervention are available, the average person prefers that they be used, unless private interests lead him to prefer the freedom of the great beasts of the jungle. The partisans of direct intervention present two conditions as necessary to its realization. First, a reform of the state, which is henceforth to transcend all private interests and be endowed with complete organisms for flexible and concealed intervention. Second, a precise and complete economic theory dealing with the sequence of economic events and the means of intervention. These two conditions amount, however, to a single condition, the primacy of technique. But then the same problems recur. There is the difficulty of preventing technique from going to the limit of its potentialities. There is the difficulty presented by the conjunction of economic and political techniques which mutually reinforce one another, and so on. Is it credible that a state which has become really technical, we shall study its characteristics in the following chapter, will be satisfied with half measures? Nothing of the kind. The seeds of destruction are in the very conditions proposed for the establishment of the economic form represented by liberal interventionism. Thence the fundamental instability which renders the attempt to establish such an economic form not a final solution, but merely an intermediate stage. This development, that is, from liberal interventionism to the fully planned society, is the more certain because liberal interventionism has usually corresponded neither to the general tendencies of society nor to the historic situation. I certainly do not wish to imply that such an economic form, from the standpoint of economic science, is not valid or justified. But when considered in the framework of today's reality, it loses its validity. The general tendencies of modern society are too well known for me to dwell on them, on the contradictions they. The general tendencies of modern society are too well known for me to dwell on the contradictions they offer to liberal interventionism. It is said that this solution, which allows for concessions and would abandon certain values it believes cannot be saved, in order to preserve certain others, represents an underhanded way of establishing collectivism. My answer is that the problem is essentially spiritual. The economic orientation called liberal interventionism presupposes a spiritual revolution that has not yet even begun. Again, the historical situation is eminently unfavorable to the philosophy of the middle of the road. Herein lies the challenge that is made both in war and in peace to people seeking to orient themselves in this direction. The simple presence of the Soviet Union acts as a catalyst and transforms the internal situation of the semi-liberal countries. whether they have direct economic relations with the Soviets or not. Here we have a planned economic system in competition with certain other systems. As Marshall has shown, when contact is established, the capitalistic countries, out of commercial necessity, are obliged to align themselves with the Soviet system. In other words, planning technique forces the competitors to imitation. That's kind of happening with China now, where like movies and video games will censor themselves so they can get aired in China. This effect has been brilliantly analyzed by Gottfried Haberler. He demonstrates that the development of state socialism and collectivism is reflected in the whole economic complex and results in a generalized nationalization of economic activity and in state monopolies of foreign commerce. A country engaged in planning its economic activity will establish quantitative controls over foreign trade in order to adapt it to the general national planning. Quotas and exchange controls are established, which are then necessarily reflected in the commerce of nations that aspire to free activity. Haberler astutely notes that measures of international commerce taken by free nations in response to other countries with planned economies in turn result, if they are coordinated and planned, in a marked degree of internal economic planning. State monopolies of international commerce cannot result in multilateral and non-discriminatory commerce. Haberler shows also that commercial agreement on a liberal basis is not possible between nations with a planned economy and nations with a non-planned economy. In view of the disturbance from abroad, then, how is it possible to maintain the delicate mechanisms of the policy of prosperity based on individual enterprise? The planned economy seems to represent the most probable solution imposed by economic technique and desired by the greater part of modern society, not only of men, but of powers. The real problem is not to judge, but to understand. Oh, dude. It's the end of that subchapter. The next subchapter is titled Progress. Take a break from reading. We're done with this chapter. Close to the end of chapter 3.
Obviously the one relating to war, but that kind of goes forth is particularly cool.
Yeah.
Because it goes through that the person with the gun is called a lieutenant, and he's the guy being shot. He goes, no one gives a shit about the guy with the pistol.
That's so lame. I hate that.
Yeah.
Why can't Christians just
I think it's, my thing, and this is what I call it the great denomination debate, which is where you have everyone running around saying, well, I'm correct. We've got the
Yeah.
correct, the EOs, so we've got the correct interpretation. Roman Catholics, we've got the correct interpretation. Okay, that may be very true. That may be 100% true. But what's interesting is that I've noticed that the moment that I've seen people truly start following Christ, God has put them in interesting places.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It's why if I think the idea of creating the different sects is obviously something that is an idea created by man, and I think it has been what was an opinion gained a following, which became a
have a-
dogmatic view, which becomes
a-
a problem that you have now.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah, how's it going?
The
Can I
stone
interrupt,
that the builders had
I have
rejected
a-
has become the cornerstone, right?
Yeah. And
Let's
the
take-
reason for this is because the way God chose the
Right, never
worst way. God chose the
Forget
worst way to send this message. People,
No.
right?
He used the greatest instrument possible
Yeah.
to allow to get a message out.
How do you
Humans.
think he would send it?
What is the greatest instrument? I don't know.
The
same
greatest
way-
instrument to allow a message to get out would be that called the humans. And humans are the same ones that invited evil into the world when they said, "Be gone, God. We
How are
want
the
to eat off
greatest-
the knowledge of the tree of good and evil because we want a little bit of this other type of power."
That's right.
No,
Yep.
the current state of affairs. The current state of
Wait,
affairs
Merle,
shows that
Merle,
humans
hang
are
on.
not reliable.
I know you want to argue, but hang on. If Jesus' resurrection is true, that means his claims of the Old Testament divinity, like the Daniel prophecy, confirms the Old Testament story, which is true, which thus confirms the story of how evil entered into the world. It follows, because he talks about it. So if Jesus' resurrection is true, and you cannot disprove it, his things follow, because this is what C.S. Lewis points out. He's either a liar, a lunatic, or a lord.
No, I'm not talking about Jesus Christ. I'm talking about the way theology was introduced to me, by my parents, by my pastors.
Yeah,
through
but
the scripture
we can't.
written by
Yeah,
humans.
but Merle, we
you have
can't.
to understand that
Merle,
kings,
I'm
right?
going to the source though. You can't allow hypocritical
No, I
Christians.
can't
you
go to the
can't.
source because I don't have a time machine.
No, well,
Oh
hang
my.
on. Wait, friend, you've got. Guess what?
Merle
God
is-
gave us
is-
something
isn't-
amazing.
isn't he-
He gave us the scriptures. That's what I'm saying.
Merle isn't any kind of friend, by the way.
No, don't say that.
No,
Don't say
I'm saying that was what I'm saying.
That guy's
Listen,
garbage.
Why
If
couldn't
you need,
why
you
couldn't
need to,
Come on.
you
talk
need to
to us
follow
like you
the
talked
line.
to
If
Abraham?
Jesus' resurrection
End
is
of
true,
Summer's
a
right.
divine claim, and he claimed things, that means the claims he did means he is by chances pretty probable and reliable. If he's predicting a prediction of his own death, and that he's going to rise 3 days later, and he's predicting these things, and it happens. There is a prophecy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago in the book of Daniel regarding it, and I'm not even getting to Isaiah. We can consider this person reliable.
Daniel,
Thus-
Genesis, Psalms, Isaiah.
There's a
No,
lot,
I-
yes.
But how do you don't understand my problem? How I was saying, the way theology is introduced to me is either through by my pastors, my parents, or people around me. You agree with that,
Dude,
right?
we actually started getting somewhere with
So
this.
have
like,
you
Sears
ever
Carol.
wait, I
And
know.
Merle had to fuck it up, like always.
So
man.
no,
Come
chill
on,
out,
come
chill
on.
out, Merle.
No, we're talking
How
about
is
seriously.
Yep. So how my question would be, have you ever read the Bible?
Probably not.
I skimmed through it, but
Have you ever
Has
read
he?
the New
I tried-
Testament?
yeah, I was skimmed through. I read certain verses. I was
Certain
into
verses. See, that's
sermons
well, like
when I
that's
was a kid.
where. Well, I respect the service, but like the certain verses. So one of the things that you said earlier, and you answered your own question basically, because you're saying, well, if theology is being taught to me by my parents, and it's being taught to me by all these other people, what's correct and what's not. Okay, how do I know what's true and what's not? Well, you go to the source. What does Jesus say regarding things of doing bloodshed against the ones that don't believe, or battle against the ones that don't believe? What does Jesus say regarding these things? What does Jesus say regarding divine claims? And then from there, if Jesus is true, we can't allow hypocritical Christians to turn you off from what is true and what's not. You're going to allow the wisdom of man to go against the wisdom of God when Jesus specifically points us out in the New Testament?
Yeah.
You would know this if you would read the New Testament, which is the source. Now, if
not
you're
only
saying, well, the
that.
New Testament is not reliable,
Okay,
that's
how
a
was
whole
they?
new
You're
conversation.
presupposing. No, you're presupposing that the scripture is a the scripture is written by men, right?
It is written by men, but I already told you
Kind of
that
changing the
men
topic, though.
men are the great. Well, I just now answered like how
No,
we
not
how you
you, the
solve
other guy,
that.
Miro.
I know, I know. If you say that, well, the new if you say, well, we don't know what he said, then you're questioning the New Testament reliability. I get that point.
Well, the theory, your objection was that there's so many different theologies, and people have different theologies, and this it's confusing, right? But just because that there are different theories about stuff in the Bible, like how people, how God elect people and so on, but there's still one truth, right? So it doesn't matter if there's like people different doctrines. I mean, there's one true doctrine, right?
My argument was that the way God talked to Abraham, the way God revealed Himself to Paul, and people around the apostles, isn't that the best reliable method for him to spread his message?
No,
He
it would be through
constantly
humans.
do that to the people who want to have a personal relationship with him, right?
Miro, if we can see that, like for example, you
bypassing
have
fallible humans. I'm sorry.
you're good. Like for example, if you see like the Canaanite woman, for example, if the religion, if following God is for all human beings are the best instrument, even though we are the one that invited evil. So if we have free will, then we are still the best option of an instrument to get the message out of the good news. And we're also the best. Wait, here's the best part, though. We're also the best instrument to create destruction and devastation and deceive people from the truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
it goes both ways.
Doesn't the current state of affairs disprove your argument?
No,
the current state of affairs,
Merle, because we
tons
go
of
back.
denominations, there's tons of religions disprove your argument.
No, because I already said we go back to the beginning point of all this, regarding of this involves free will. This involves evil being invited into the world based off whom? The instruments, us. We did it. So basically, you can't blame the finger at God if we're the ones that invited evil into the world. That's our fault, and it's our fault for hey. But guess what? It's our fault. Now, what you could say is that we made the transmission a whole lot more difficult. And this is one of the things that probably is the reason why it says that in the Bible, it says that the path is narrow.
Let me know if I ever get a say in anything.
I said it's impossible for humans to transfer
Merle,
information reliably because
that little German guy or whatever he is, he gets to talk a lot. So,
huh?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Merle, I have a question, right? Go ahead.
Well, anyways, truth has infiltrated, has infiltrated places of very high stature, and places of where of corruption just as much as lies have infiltrated the church. It's gone both ways, and people have been astounded as to find the truth, coming at them, in their towers, in their castles, their places of wealthy business, just as much as people have been astounded to find that there's people trying to go ahead and lie to them.
Yeah, especially people like Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, and all these what do you call that?
Yes,
prosperity gospels.
Yes, correct. It's a progressive move of Christianity. Dr. Havner talked about this in 1986 before he died. But one of the key things, like again, and those two people you mentioned, which is fantastic. If you ever see them, Joel Osteen does not open the Bible. One of the biggest no, I'm serious, and this is sad, but it's true.
I know.
Because
I've seen
of
him.
because of the disconnect that we have in
Met
today's
him.
culture, because there's more influences like phones, TikTok, YouTube, video games, computers, television, all these different influences. That's just inside of a house, let alone what's outside. It's to read the Bible and to read the scripture to actually understand the word. That's like, why would I want to do that? Why not look it up and just get it from someone else? That's where theology problems start being built and problems like that happen, is when people rely on other people to get their message when there is a source there available. And that is just up to the culture that we live in modern times.
Yeah, what is the source?
The source is the Bible, the New Testament record.
But the Bible is also human. Humans wrote the Bible too, right?
That
It's
doesn't
not-
matter, because you're talking about
Does it?
presumptions earlier, because you're presuming, and this can be an impediment on the truth, if you're saying that humans cannot be used and if they're not the best method to get the message out, because we are. To say we're not, that's crazy. That would be to
If we
say
were,
something like
then
another
why
animal to
the
get the
current
message
state of
out.
affairs? The current state of affairs is, there's really conflicts, human conflicts.
We've already
denominations.
addressed these, though. Miro, you're just going
It's
back to
because-
the second point. Now you just don't have an argument, and everyone's seeing this. All you're doing is going back to the violence and all that created by what I've said earlier. Opinions
Yeah.
by man that became dogmatic, gained influence, and now it is called the Great Denomination Debate. Why? Because people will rather run around and argue and do all these other influences in a modern day society instead of read the Bible. Back in 8200s, according to be considered a student of the church, you had to read your scriptures at least 4 hours a day, consistently, for years.
Okay.
That is people will read it for 15 minutes and set it down on a day. We are living in a different time, and you cannot go by what man says. You have to go by what the Bible says, because the Bible has been shown to be true. It's shown to be by probability chance it's true if you want to be a complete skeptic about it. And it's shown to be reliable according to historical standards. And that is according to historians, not postmodernists, historians that want to do history, because historians get to make up their own canon, so you've got to be careful.
Okay.
But
But-
Mirol, you said you haven't seen
So
any evidence for a God.
so we should never. You're that's presupposing the Bible is infallible, right?
Nope,
Nope.
I don't have to.
You have to.
Nope. Like I said, all I need to do is focus on the New Testament record. Because the New Testament record is the most accurate, because in order for science to progress, history has to be correct. Just because we can't verify one or two things about history does not mean that something falls apart. Just because
But also know
of
that, history is predominantly written by the victors. Losers tend to not be in history. It's especially
Well, I'm glad you said that. That's what makes Christianity so interesting. But because for the first 300 years, until Constantine actually gave Christians rights, they were considered the good losers. In history,
I have a question.
yes. The reason why, because they were one of the only types of groups that were losing and decided not to do bloodshed. They were actually they were the only group you can look at in history, which is really interesting, because normally when you start to kill off a group and their beliefs, right? Normally the group dies out. Christianity was the counter opposite. The more you attacked and put violence upon Christians, the more it grew.
I have a question. Is the Bible more true than Jesus Christ, the human?
Well, no. PMARS, you have to understand that out of the entire human race, right, there must have been one man who was most righteous out of all of us who ever existed. There was one of us who was more righteous than everyone else, okay? Try to understand that kind of ranking and where that would put that one man. in comparison with everybody else. Because if you look at everyone, there must have been one of us who was most righteous, and that was Jesus Christ.
What the Bible teaches, and because it comes from the Word of God, and Jesus is God, and if you go obviously in the Trinitarian form, then yes, it would be on equal grounds. Now that does not mean
are you
that.
saying,
Hang on.
Are you saying the Bible is equal to God?
No, you have to let me finish. What it teaches. Now that doesn't mean that there could not be a scribe that messes up something and we still have it in our daily. So for example, like you have like Mark 16:9-20. There's another story about when Jesus says, "He who ever threw that rock, he who never sinned shall cast the first stone." Those types of stories are debated, but those wouldn't change the essential Christian beliefs, which is the bodily resurrection of Christ, following Christ, and for example, like the Sermon on the Mount and other things of that nature. So, no, not every dot and tittle, if you want to get into every word, is going to be, I don't think, at the point I'm at, is going to be on that same level. But what it teaches is inerrant.
Like when it says that Jesus Christ, gave himself up and became a slave to all, right? That is incorrect. He did it by his own volition, and he became a servant to all, to serve them, to give them life because he wants to, because that he desires to save people, and by doing so, sacrificing himself, being the pure man that he was, actually provided something in the spiritual world that was not there before. And doing so, has become the servant to all who ask for help, ask for salvation, plead to God, that they may be helped. And it's because of that reason that that God listens to us. We've been asking God since, I don't know, into depths of history, God save us, and certainly he brought someone down here to go ahead and do so, even though it cost him his life. But in doing so, we pretty much closed the book on ourselves, because it was actually our choice to either go with this man on this spiritual journey to go ahead and create the spiritual kingdom, or just fall back into our fleshly ways and end up killing the one man who we were supposed to listen to.
And I will say, it's also quite interesting how the Bible is considered the Word of God, yet is up to so much scrutiny and criticism and critique. And yet it is one of the only holy books, if you will, you can point out, and it's allowed up to this critique. Because something like the Quran, for example, or some other holy books and other religions, smaller ones, hold the belief that it is such the Word of God, you can't even question its validity. We can't it just itself, in circular reasoning fashion, it proves itself true because it's true. So the fact that the Bible takes a different way, and through historical lens, we can see it as the most reliable book we have in antiquity. And to say it's not would to be just to throw a cigarette into history and all of the work that we've done and say none of it's reliable in antiquity. It's absolutely absurd, and you can't get away with it. Rational.
Yeah, man. I mean, for us to have gone this far and just basically write a couple of stupid papers called moral relativism, to go ahead and undo everything that has been done, and call it as of no consequence, all the bloodshed, right? It's oh yeah, all you people who went ahead and wrote those philosophy papers, right? When you're on the cutting board, are you going to go ahead and say that it's moral relativism? Really? No, you won't. You will not do that. No, you won't. No, you won't. Well, that's unfortunate for you. Okay, man.
I don't think you can live that out.
Huh? Oh, there you go. He's already just doing his thing.
Well, I'm just reading right now. I've got to get my truck warmed up in 25 minutes, so it's all good. Okay.
Oh, well, dude, how? Okay.
What?
Yeah, that was a complete straw man.
That's the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
It's all good though. P Mars is just doing his little troll.
P Mars likes to read some other literature besides the Bible.
That was an absolute straw man of the New Testament record.
I think he's referring to like one quote where he's telling his disciples to do as the Pharisees say, but not as they do.
Oh yeah, how about we get into the point where the disciples say, "Hey, Jesus, can you explain that one to us? We don't understand it."
Yeah.
Does he give you the moral reason what to do then, P Mars? What did?
Love obeys no morality. Morality is edifying, especially when it's properly established as something that should be, not something that should not. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my sweet. Okay, all right. You know what? I'm gonna go back to politics, dude. Forget this. No. Pizzle, do you have anything to add to this?
No. Is that Merle guy gone?
Yeah, dude, he ran out of arguments.
I was going to explain to him because he asked you like, how did you come to Christianity, or how were you introduced to it? And he said like he was indoctrinated, at an early age or whatever.
Yeah, I've called cap on all this. I keep hearing this, but like it seems like every single person in NFL history was just like, oh yeah, well I was a Christian, but now I'm not.
Yeah,
like
and
but
I
they were
gotta say,
but they were really into their belief though, so much that they didn't read the Bible.
Yeah, there's a weird disconnect there, eh?
Yep.
I'm like I was raised Christian Catholic, Orthodox, and then I rejected it as a kid. And like you said, the first question you asked him was, have you read the Bible yourself? And like it took me to like, I was 23 when I first read it myself. You know,
Right.
it didn't come forced on me. I wanted to read it. I was looking for answers, and I was looking for ancient alien stuff. Even, you know, I was looking for all kinds of fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and I came to it by myself, as well as many other religious texts. It took a
Yeah.
while for me.
I grew up in a, like, my parents were Christian, but the way that, well, they believed in God, but the way that our home was, like, they were fighting a lot, so they weren't really showing like godly, like, you know, like they weren't living like Christ. So for me, growing up, obviously not having as much understanding that I do now, I never really, like, I was forced to go to church, but like I obviously that never did anything, never read a Bible. I
Yeah.
really started to get to the point of like I really just kind of rebelled against it, revolted. I hated religion. Just because of being forced into it. They couldn't answer the question like why I had to go to church. And like it bothered me to death because I was like forced to go for a few hours and you just couldn't answer this one simple question. So I was steaming. But long after, I got with this girl on February 8th, 11:56 p.m. of 2020, and we had a experience that I would deem supernatural. And after that, I started looking into religion.
Neat.
You think
Yeah, with
sex,
me
you
it's-
think sex is supernatural?
That's good.
Thank you, Primars.
That's funny.
No, we actually held off for like
That's
4 or 5
lovely.
months.
Well, yeah, man. There you go. Going steady. He said it right there.
We wanted to get to know each other and like not build a relationship just off of sex, just in case when, you know, obviously when like, because my idea was like, when I, like, if I'm going to get with
Partner, right?
Hmm.
Do you think that it could be that some women make men become abusive later on, that they didn't start off like that?
No.
Well, because here's what I said. There was yeah, it was like, do you remember I told you about that girl on the internet that was like fucking, she had the Discord and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
she was saying a bunch of shit about how she loves me and everything, and then Simps
Mhm.
started attacking me and crap. And I told her, like, there's no fucking way I can ever be with you. Like, the only way it would work, like, I would have to be a fucking abusive piece of shit to be with you. That's what I told her. I'm like, I'm just not gonna do that. And so, I think that every time she's gonna be with someone, the non-toxic people are just not gonna be around her.
Yes. I agree with that. Because there are, when someone there's people who are abusive look for certain types of people, or they wear people down to the point that they are that type of person. Like, anyone can get involved in an abusive relationship, right? You don't have to have a certain type of personality, because if you're in an abusive relationship, it's like being brainwashed. They will wear you down. If you're in an actual severely abusive relationship, it's like being brainwashed. They isolate you. They wear you down mentally. They use the same types of things that cults do. And if you're at all, like, even if you're just in a bad time in your life, you know, you can be even more prone to that, right? But also, people who have certain types of personality disorders are going to be extremely more likely to get in abusive relationships, because they're already set up to be in that kind of relationship because they have a personality disorder, so they're going to be likely to hook up with people who are likely to be abusive. Because a lot of abusive people have personality disorders, or that's like, if that's not 100% of people who are severely abusive are going to, or have personality disorders. So they're going to be more likely to hook in with people who are already like that, who already have some kind of personality disorder. So, yeah, somebody who already has some kind of toxic personality disorder is more likely to hook up with somebody who has one. So that happens too. Now, all of us have some kind, are occasionally are going to do something that is an abusive behavior, right? Like everyone occasionally is going to yell, you know, fuck you, you're an asshole at someone, which is an abusive behavior, right? But not all of us are to do the chronically abusive thing that people who are in abusive relationships do. Like, we don't all beat people down and do that kind of like abusive cycle that people who are abusive do.
That Trav guy was doing it to Sophie, where he was like, Sophie, no one will love you. And like, giving her an ultimatum and stuff.
Yeah, doing that kind of stuff is different than, you know, just occasionally yelling at someone, fuck you, or something like that when you're mad.
But he was telling the truth.
Yes,
he was.
But hold on.
And he was angry at the time. Yeah, I'm one of them. People say a lot of shit when they're... Yeah, I don't care. People say a lot of shit when they're angry. And a lot of shit they don't mean. But that Sophie, I don't know her. And I don't care if I was abusive with her. She deserved it. Because she's one of those...
Granted, Sophie's a pedophile.
Oh my God, man, P-Mars, you're the worst person to talk about what people deserve, bro. The nerve of you, man. Get the fuck out of here. The only reason why you're saying that because she's a woman, bro. And that's the thing I dislike the most. When people just take up for people because they're a woman. They ignore all the dumb shit, all the shit what she was doing, right? When she was talking about, oh, Trav was in doing this and Trav reading all his DMs and all that shit, right? And just to get his attention, the minute he come there and say, hey, I don't want you. If you continue to act like this, you're never gonna find a man. You get people like P-Mars would reassure that what she was doing was right. And she was in the wrong. That's the thing I dislike about people like him.
Dude, there's no fucking right or wrong. She's allowed to be how she is. You're not.
No, she's not.
When you're trying to,
no, she's not,
trying
bro.
to change her to be the way you want her to be, that's fucked up
That's
and
how
abusive because you're a manipulative dog shit human being who deserves the lake of fire.
Oh, yeah, listen, you better lower your fucking voice with me, bro. That shit.
Yes. Sometimes I think I'll go mad.
At the end of the day, P-Mars, the reason why you're single is because you can't change. So, you need to change.
Yeah, that wasn't a big ask.
Then I will be sad in a relationship because I feel
how you know how a relationship works?
like you.
The last time you was in a relationship was almost 10 years
I'll be
ago.
like, man, I wish I could be myself, but I have to change to make other people happy, so now I'm a bitch ass like Nathan.
Hey, that's the way life works, bro.
I'd be like, man, now I'm sad because I'm a fucking bitch who
That's what it is to be a man.
appease other people.
Being a little boy is thinking that you could be yourself, which is childish. It's still what you call it. It's still being society.
Nathan
doesn't want to be himself because he's ego.
Why the fuck are you cutting me off, man?
Just because you don't want to be yourself because you're a fucking dog shit person. Like, maybe I want to be myself. You ever thought of that?
Yeah, you can continue to be yourself single. That's what I'm saying. Be yourself.
Fuck, I'm not the one. I'm not complaining about it.
Yes, you are. You saying that? Oh yeah, this dude is a bad person.
You brought it up, dude. I ain't fucking talking about it.
No, you brought it up. You brought it up. What the fuck are you talking about?
You fucking bitch. You bitch for other people's problems.
No, you bitch for other people. You came
You
in
should
here
like,
simping
at
for
least you
Sophie.
should be a bitch about your own problems.
bet
You're so much of a
you
fucking
came in here simping for
bitch.
Sophie.
You bitch about
And
other
you
people's
so-
problems. Like, what do you give a
That's what
fuck
you do,
about
P-Mars.
Sophie
Every
or like
fucking
my
day.
problems?
Oh
What do
my
my
God,
problems in
Sophie
life
was
have to
getting
fucking do with you, you busybody nigger?
Abused. He was getting abused. Oh my God, I feel so bad for Sophie. She shouldn't tolerate guys like that. Shut your fucking simp ass up. I bet you was in the fucking DMs too. Fucking creep.
I'll show you my DMs.
Let's listen to this example.
I don't want to see it, bro.
I have a new plan.
I don't know, P-Mars, I'm just seeing a recurring pattern here, man.
Oh my God, there go the other simp. There you go, bro. What you want to say? Go ahead, Maximo.
Yeah, this is what I want to say.
Manipulative and abusive.
Yeah, I am.
This is what I want to say. I'm seeing a recurring pattern. It was Infinite, it's P-Mars, it's Maximo, it's somebody else. It's always
all simps.
I've noticed a lot of people have problems with you, Nathan.
Saul,
all simps, bro.
Saul,
yeah,
that's right. So we got Saul, we got Infinite, we got P-Mars, we got Maximo. Who else to add to the list of people that?
Nathan is such a drama whore. Like he's all up in everyone's drama. Why don't you fix your own fucking life? Nathan? You're fucking clean.
There's nothing to fix. I was made here to fix other people's life and to tell them how wrong their life is and to make fun of them. Just like you, Maximo. That's what I do to you. Hopefully that you understand that me making fun of your pathetic life is going to help you out in the future. The same thing with you, P-Mars. I make fun of you because you're a single, stay-at-home cat father, right?
I've been making fun of you for being black for years, and you're still fucking black.
But that's the thing. I can't control that, but you can control you.
You can too. Get some fucking cream to lighten your skin.
You're not even one of the. You
can at
don't
least
even
look
want
like
to go
Saul.
there and make kids.
You're making excuses.
You don't even want to have something to live for, bro. That's the sad part.
Dude, you think if I had a kid, I would care about my kid? I don't give a fuck about my kid. My kid would be like brainwashed by the New World Order Jews.
Because you would let them.
No.
Yes. I bet you your father and your mom look at you every day. When you gonna give me some grandkids? And they
You
did
think
it
my
for
fucking dad? My dad doesn't give a. My dad never given a fuck about me in his life. Like,
yes, he did. What you
people
mean?
don't have kids, and then suddenly their life is.
Hey, when I'm gonna have a
fulfillment.
grandkid?
That's not how it works.
When I'm gonna have a grandkid? How you know, P-Mars? You don't have one.
You fucking aborted your kid. You're a baby murderer.
So what? But I got one though.
Yeah. Why did you kill one and
What
not
you
the
did?
other?
What did you
How
do?
are you gonna explain to the kid you have that he has a sibling that you fucking
What
killed?
sibling?
There was a popular.
What did you do, P-Mars? You got any kids? What about the
When
bitch you
are you
flew
gonna tell
all
your
the
kid
way?
that
You
you killed
fucking
his brother?
Let's talk about the bitch you flew all the way to New Zealand for, and she left you, and caused you to move in this one-bedroom apartment. You met the girl playing poker. You don't even know her.
Until next week at this same time, when the control voice will.
Let's talk about that bitch.
Why do you lowblow everyone, dude? Why do you do this?
No, I only do it to you, Maximo.
No, you do it to everyone, dude. You're doing it to
Nah,
P-Mars.
just you.
You did it.
Can I have Ed?
He has to. Like, if it's not me, it'll be someone else. Like,
Cat, please don't give him admin because he's just gonna mute me. He's gonna silence my opinion.
But shut your sensitive ass up, Maximo.
I think he abused.
If I give you admin this time, Donnie, I don't know if you have. I'm gonna sleep you. I'm gonna make you a mod. You're gonna stay mod. You're gonna stay mod. Nope.
Very quick side note. Nate, you finally made the list. You have something on your notes? 1:27:22 at 7:52 a.m. Nate said, "I was made to fix other people's lives and to make fun of them."
Alright, listen, we need to... Listen, all I'm saying is, let's stop the fighting. Okay, we don't need to add fuel to the fire. Is everybody cool?
Oh, I'm cool, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah.
P-Mars, what about you, bro? I just see this shit blowing up. I just...
Listen, it isn't gonna blow up with me, bro. I'm cool. I don't know, but Maximo, we cool?
Why did you meet Maximo?
He's adding fuel to the fire, man. Just to store more shit.
The fuck, Nathan starts everything. Nathan should be fucking muted.
I know.
Okay, I'll mute Nathan here. There, now Nathan's muted. Is that better?
Maximo is correct. Like, Nathan is an abusive, manipulative, garbage person. That's just.
Oh,
That's just
now I'm
true.
gonna have to mute you too. Stop that.
Enjoy your life, blessed day.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day, bitch.
You have a blessed day too. I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna come back and then.
Oh damn.
I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna work on the tank.
I remember college.
Yeah, I'm thinking about I'm in aerospace structure tech, and I may go for a history degree.
Aerospace tech?
Aerospace structure tech, yeah.
I dropped
Working
out
on airplanes.
I dropped out on 9/11. It's true.
I can hear the smile when you say that.
I was getting ready for class, and then I seen the terrorist attack on TV, and I never went to a college class again.
There wasn't a smile on that one, but because you tried to keep it in.
It's true. I was 19.
I saw a pink octopus in my room last night.
Was
it a magical octopus, or was it like
it's true.
I hated high school. Like, I felt like it was a huge waste of time. Like, I wasn't learning anything. And then I go to college, and I was like, oh, I was excited. Like, maybe I'm gonna be educated for the first time in my life. And I thought I was just like high school, except for you had more responsibility. So, it's just fucking. I hate education.
So what kind of octopus was this, man?
It was a Christian octopus.
Okay. Lester, you wanted to give us a little bit more information on this one?
On what?
On this pink octopus you had, and sort of like a.
It was a joke because PMR's made a claim. I was just making a claim.
Oh, okay. I thought it was kind of like the pink elephants in Dumbo.
Mm.
I'm at work. I got to get tested twice a week because I didn't take the jab.
Yeah.
What's awesome?
Dude, just take the jab, man.
No,
it'll
suck
be
my
all right.
dick. Shut up. Don't tell me to take the jab. What's amazing about not taking the jab is everyone.
Let the guy talk.
Jab buddies, man.
Let the guy talk. Let the guy talk.
All right.
Most amazing thing about having to get tested twice a week is the people who have to get tested twice a week. All of them are good people, Christian. For the most part, they're really hardworking. They're the best employees we have. And coincidentally, they're all the ones who have to be tested twice a week and haven't taken the jab.
Yep.
So, you know what we do? We turn the waiting room into a prayer room.
That's dope.
Isn't it? We've taken the time that Satan has put us here together and we've turned it into something good.
Say, like, I'm not vaccinated, but I don't believe in Christianity.
Well, that's fine. And there's a couple of us here that aren't Christian, but they're awake. You know, they're awake to this Zionist bullshit.
Why aren't you?
That's not why I'm not getting it.
Why aren't you getting it?
Because
I don't
it
like
gives you
being told
AIDS.
what to do. Also, I don't think I need it.
Eisenhower took it.
What was your first? I didn't hear. Someone overtalked.
Oh, I don't like being told what to do.
Oh.
And so it's like, fuck you. That's my first reason.
Right.
Also,
So use reverse psychology on albedo. Note to self.
the other thing is, it seems to only affect people who are unhealthy, and I'm pretty sure I'm like within the positive 95% of people who are like very healthy. So I'm just not concerned about having the effects of COVID.
Right.
If I thought it was going to kill me, I would probably get the vaccine.
What about when people say you're a bad person because you don't care about other people's health?
I do care about people's health.
Yeah, that's why I was not getting the vaccine.
So that's just weird.
Exactly. It's not the boogeyman.
You can't moralize me with that. Like, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, you can't get me with that, shouty.
Yeah, of course I care about people's health. That's actually why I tell people to
We all do, man.
and to eat healthy.
Yeah, we're all very empathic people here, you know. with
They say
passion.
if you don't get the vaccine, it's because you're selfish and you don't care
You're
about
caring.
other people. And you haven't heard that?
No, I will use a quote by Dr. Robert Malone, who created the mRNA technology. He talked about that this is the first time ever that the usefulness of a vaccine is being used against the ones that are unvaccinated. Like this whole idea that it's unvaccinated people causing all of the spreadings and all that, that's already like so been disproven. Like if you want to take the vaccine, get it, that's fine. But the ability to try and force people to mandate it the way they've been doing it is absolutely stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. I just don't agree with the idea of like the government having control of that. I think that it's fine if a business wants to do it that way.
Correct.
Because we don't allow our country to work in that manner.
Yeah, if a business wants to do it, that's cool. It's their own like choice. But like to try and make it mandated the way that they've been doing, it's like absolute BS. Like it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Every single time the government has said like, oh, we're gonna step in and try and help you from this quote unquote, pandemic, the way that they're saying it's killing all these people. I still think it's real. I'm saying it's killing all these people. But the way they've been doing that, I mean, if you think about when they shut down the country, the way they did that and they allowed, Amazon, these certain companies to run, they shot themselves in the foot there. They're shooting themselves in the foot again. And they just continually do it once more. Like, why are we putting trust in the people in power right now when every single time it just keeps backfiring? Just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I forgot the dude's name, but he was like, listen, people in power that are evil, yes, get it. People in power that have agendas that are against the humans, absolutely, we understand it. It's going to be there. But why? But the people conforming to it, that's the idiocy. That doesn't make any sense.
You can do whatever the fuck I want. I also am going to do whatever I want.
Hey, a blessed day.
Yeah.
What do you think of Yara Azul's take on his beliefs in Christianity or the
I've
Bible?
we've had conversations. It's interesting is he's actually gotten pinned a few times about it, but not by me, mind you. But I just personally, I think if you're looking at the Bibles in the lens of ethnicity built on race, on like their skin color, and not what the group has done, then and not of spiritual redemption, then I think you're looking at the Bible in the wrong lens.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to have an agreement with him on the whole thing, and it all just kept on reverting to, like God chooses who He will save, and people who He doesn't want to save. It doesn't matter how hard they try to go ahead and be saved. He just simply will not accept them because they're not His people, and he started bringing up the whole salvation is of the Jews, and that me and everyone else's efforts is not really actually I guess honored because we're not black.
The thing I found about it, and this is what's interesting, is why do people feel like they have to get to the point where they have to look at the Bible in the lens of race? To me, that shows that there's a underlying issue where that there is a feeling of an oppression to these groups of people, where they feel like they have to justify the Bible to get them out of, like, there's going to be this redemption against ones that have oppressed these people back in, like, slavery and the times now and things like that. So I think it really shouts out a bigger issue at hand, because, like, for example, James White debated a Hebrew Israelite that's like one of the top spokespersons for one of these Hebrew Israelites movement. The dude got pummeled. He just didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't. James White made a fool of him. But what it does hint at is a issue that it seems that these groups of people are going through regarding of why they feel like they need to justify the Bible in the lens of race. That would be and then get attached to it. That would be my interesting cause of concern. I got to warm up my truck real quick, so I got to go out there and warm it up. But I think that's where I would lean my question into, because we're gonna get random, interesting interpretations all day. Look through history, you'll find a plethora of them. But why in the lens of race, especially with 1800s and what's going on now, and how can we help solve that with showing Christ and not saying, well, you're wrong, refuted, that's just not going to get it done. So I'll be right back. I got to warm up my truck.
Why do all Christians believe in this objective morality shit when it's a totally indefensible position?
What kind of morality do you take, Mars?
I'm a moral anti-realist.
Okay. Do you think it's non-cognitive? When I say that, well, there's going to be two questions. Do you think all moral statements are false? Or when I say X is bad, that doesn't even mean anything?
I'm saying that they're relative to the person, right? They're subjective or whatever.
Well, if you say it's subjective to a person, that's going to be a type of realism.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be cashed out differently. If you say, someone could say X is bad, and what they mean by X is bad is, I just prefer this thing. I prefer chocolate over vanilla. But it doesn't actually mean that X is bad.
Yes.
I'm back. I did pick up an interesting read because, and I can't wait to dive into it, but it was Confessions by St. Augustine. So, that'll be an interesting one. Because he has an interesting background.
Is that about what he did with little boys?
Oh, excuse me? Chill. Like, his father was a pagan and his mother was a Christian. So, Confessions is him in that conflicting worldview of back and forth, which is really intriguing. So, like, I made sure I got a good translation of it too. I didn't get the best translation, which is Oxford's, but I'll get that next.
Yeah, my Bible scholar, his father was like very secular. He was like a fan of Voltaire, and his mom was a Protestant, and his dad like made his mom not basically teach him any religion or anything. And so she just like, I guess, prayed, that he would become a Protestant, but she never really influenced him. And then like when he was 18, 19, something like that, he had like a spiritual experience, and he decided to become a Protestant Christian. And when like he told his mom, she was like washing dishes, and he told her that he became a Christian, she just was like, "Yeah, I know. I've been praying for you the whole time."
That's awesome. That's cool. That's neat.
Yeah, I like that story.
That's cool. I like it where it's like she got a different implication than he did, Like she was just like, yeah, I've been praying for this about a minute. Made some changes, Chief.
He said like she didn't even like look up from her dishes. She was just kind of like, yeah, I know.
It was a yawn.
I think
I got college.
I think I would like to do that if I had kids, which will never happen, but like, cause I was forced into being a Christian, and that turned me off from Christianity for like years. So if I had a kid, maybe I would do something like that, where I wouldn't try and like push them to do it, to be.
Oh yeah, same. I mean, I would like that's maybe like one of the good things I have, because like obviously our kids in a sense become a reflection of whom we are a bit. So like if my kid like has those questions that like my parents couldn't raise, at least I did the due diligence where I can at least answer these questions. And I won't force my kid, because everyone has their path. Everyone has to take their path. And sometimes, some people's stories, it may take them 10 or 15 years away from the faith to come back. And even though that's scary, because, time is undeservable and we don't know when our time runs out, we still have to allow that to happen. We have to allow everyone to make their own choices. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I would do the same thing.
Well, it's not even like you can force someone to be a Christian or whatever. It's
right.
Not something that.
But like you can do the indoctrination, and that's one of the reasons. Like I'm glad you've realized that, because like
but
this
then
is
if you're
you can't.
You're not a real Christian, because I think you have to choose it with your free will.
Right. You can't run off mommy and daddy's faith. You're right. You absolutely can't. You have to learn for yourself. You cannot run off mommy and daddy's faith. The entire not work. If you say you can, you're a heretic.
If I wanted to manipulate my son into being a Christian, though, I'd raise him atheist, so that when he turns 13 and rebels, he'll become a Christian.
Dude, reverse psychology to the max.
Yeah.
He just like one day he just comes home, he just sees like a couple printed papers stapled together. He looks at it, it's just that plan you've been like busting out since he was like firstborn. You had it like literally just like preemptively scripted out, just like before he was even a thought bubble.
I've met people like that who, well, like both sides, are like their parents were really like hated Christianity, and then they rebelled and became Christians, or like people who's like really fundamentalist Christians who rebelled and became atheists, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of
it happens.
It's funny how that works.
It's absolutely, and the interesting thing that I find fascinating about it is that the connection point you see obviously is the Force.
Yeah.
Like yeah. My parents not being able to answer questions, and my parents forcing me every Sunday, even though like they were not living anything according. Like we would literally go to church right after they would start fighting. Like they'd fight so bad sometimes they forget to like drop me off at school.
My
Like,
parents
that
were
bad.
like that too, and it just made me think that Christians were hypocrites, and so I didn't want to be a Christian and stuff.
I'm not sure if you ever experienced this, but like they'd fight so many times. Sometimes I just like drop whatever I'm doing, go in there, and just be like, "Can y'all just get like a divorce already? Like this is bad. Like just quit. I'm tired of like y'all yelling. I'm trying to take a nap."
They probably couldn't afford a divorce.
Yeah, I didn't during our money changes. You were correct about that, but they did end up getting separate houses for like 2 years. My dad helped pay. My mom worked full time. She's a surgical tech, so she made good money. So, and then I went back and forth for like 2 years, and then after that happened, they were back together. I really just like came home one day, and then like they're just chilling on the couch together, like at my dad's house. And then I just got back home from school, and they're like, "Guess what? We're getting a house together again." I was like, "Okay, cool."
Are they still together?
Yeah, they are.
Do they
They are.
still-
It actually,
They still
it saved
fight?
it.
Oh, they don't. Do they
No.
Still, no.
No, it saved it. Now, once in a while, you know, they make it a little chippy, but no, they don't fight like they used to. Not at all. It's night and day. I'm
Yep.
thankful.
Yeah, it's interesting to to hear that you both PMARS and I'm not sure who else here has had just a horrific time just having to deal with the whirlwinds of bullshit from like ancestry, you know, to time immemorial, I suppose. You know, it's like that's all it ever was. There was never like anything else. Like, you know, like you might have had a couple of you know, precious moments in between where like people weren't just would shut the fuck up for a bit and let you enjoy your own life.
Well,
no idea
boys,
what you guys are saying.
I do have to head out. You guys have a blessed one.
See ya.
Yeah, I gotta go to that fun old college. It is kind of fun working in the shop, though. I will admit that. Kind of neat. But all right.
I watched that video too. Murphy.
Oh yeah.
PMARS, we're watching this, man. It's good.
I like you too. You know that. Let's not, rush into anything too fast.
It's The Boys TV show.
Right, seriously? Now is not the appropriate time.
Just a piece of it, PMARS.
Fuck
Plus, you're making things
dolphins.
awkward. Okay. If I just touch it, will you shut up? Shit. I made you a promise.
Alright,
Is the dolphin asking for like a blowjob or something? Or like a hand job?
PMARS, you can never say that word ever, that statement ever again in Florida, okay? Or it's Floridian.
Humans rule. Dolphins can suck it.
Oh, that's it. I'm fighting words. You respect the Dolphins of Florida. You hear me? Next year, I guarantee it's gonna be the year Dolphins gonna make it to the playoffs. All right. I say it every year, but next year I mean it.
What's your issue with dolphins, man?
Yeah, what up, PMARS? you got against the dolphins?
Because people are always like, "Oh, dolphins are so intelligent."
They are intelligent.
But not compared to a human.
I guess not.
Oh man, you're gonna get my channel flagged, Johnny.
Oh shit! Are you streaming this?
Yeah.
Well, sorry
It's
about that,
alright.
bro.
It's alright. I forgot about that.
This week's Half Torah is really
I should have
good.
told you. I should have told. If I knew you were streaming, I would have told you it was a. TV
Nah, it
show.
doesn't matter. It's probably fine. Because it's just like a short clip. Or whatever. If I get a strike, I get a strike. Surprised they haven't deleted me. I've gotten close. Oh, baby.
So Murphy, are you still living in that place where it's really frosty?
Like Sweden?
Pardon?
You mean
No,
Sweden?
no, your holiday village or whatever, your holiday villa or whatever.
Oh. No, I don't live there, man. I go. You can't live there because there's no electricity or internet. But not even like water. It's
So
drinkable.
that day that you were streaming it, were you just visiting the place, or
Yeah, yeah. I was just visiting.
so you didn't actually stay the night there?
No, not that day. I have stayed nights though.
Oh, okay. Are you planning to get electricity, like some sort of solar setup or batteries or what?
Yeah, well, the issue with Sweden is that solar energy doesn't really
It's
pay
very
off.
it's very cloudy or what?
Yeah, and in the winter there's like
Oh.
almost no sun for like 3 months straight. So
What about
Can't-
windy? Is it windy?
it is kind of windy. Yeah, I guess we can install the thing that spins.
Yeah,
They-
you could install them, man. You could and a bunch of batteries.
Stop!
Yeah.
Hey! Stop it.
I wonder if there's another way you can I wonder if there's like domestic geothermal
Dorian!
stations that you can purchase.
Stop!
And how would you do that?
Geothermal, like- Yeah, I'm not sure.
Stop!
So the way it works is like the temperature difference between the ground and the top surface causes like a potential difference, which creates a current, and you can store that current into a battery and use that as electricity to power your property.
Yeah.
Something like that. Mm. What about, do you have like a flowing river in your property?
No.
Damn. I was gonna say you could do a hydroelectric, a small hydroelectric.
Or like a wind thing can work.
Do you think the wind thing would generate enough power to power like all the stuff?
Yeah. Well, what
Is
does one need? I mean, you just need to charge your phone. That's it.
Oh, okay. What about heating, cooling, all that?
Just burn wood.
Okay. What about like the refrigerator? Do you need a refrigerator? Or do you have a cold room, like an underground cold room where you can store your food?
We have a refrigerator that works on gas. But
okay.
I don't. It doesn't
pretty
have gas, so we don't use it.
Yeah. Does your property have like a natural gas to the mains, or is it you just buy the canisters and you swap them, or what?
You buy the canisters and swap them.
Oh, okay. Hmm. What about like hot water service?
There is no hot water. No, there is no hot water.
Oh,
The only water
shit.
we get is like the one that's not drinkable. You can't drink it. But you
Also,
can use it for
the
other things.
water. So wait, the water is groundwater, or what? What kind of water you get there?
Yeah, I think it's well water. Yeah, groundwater.
Oh, okay. And it's not drinkable, you said.
Yeah. Well, at least you're not supposed to drink it.
Who said that? Who said you're not supposed to drink it?
The person we bought the house from.
Oh, okay, okay. What about rainwater tanks? Can you do that?
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Yeah.
Is there enough rain? On
I guess in the summer.
They'd have to be insulated tanks so they don't freeze over in the winter.
Yeah.
You might want to get a greenhouse, dude, for those like install like a